Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I'm Ninja Whale, and the story that I want to tell today starts from the time of Qianlong Emperor, who was an emperor in the Qing dynasty, which was the last dynasty in China. He technically ruled from 1735 to 1796 when he retired, but he continued to hold actual power until 1799 when he passed away. That makes him both one of the longest ruling emperors and one of the longest lived emperors in Chinese history. I don't know what it was like to be an emperor, but it definitely wasn't an easy task. For example, one thing that Qing dynasty emperors did on a daily basis that I would never be able to do is that they had to get up around 5 a.m. every morning. The one exception was Chinese New Year. No, Qianlong Emperor didn't get to sleep in on Chinese New Year every year. Instead, he had to get up even earlier, at midnight, to carry out a simple but important tradition that was started by his father. Basically, every year on Chinese New Year, at midnight, the emperor will first write down some auspicious words as good wishes for this year, and then he will drink the tu su jiu, which is a special type of alcohol that's infused with Chinese herbal medicine. From this chalice, which is beautiful. It's called金瓯永固杯, which translates to Golden Chalice of Eternal Stability. This chalice is the main character of my story today. Even though it was only used once a year on Chinese New Year, it doesn't mean that less care was taken in its design. Actually, quite the opposite. It has gone through careful iterations, and currently there are 4 of these chalices spread across the world. And I'll tell you a little bit at the end of the video why they're spread across the world. So the first of these 4 chalices was commissioned in the 4th year of Qianlong's reign. It was probably a prototype because it's duller than the other iterations, which means that there was less gold in the alloy that it's made of. It has 2 inscriptions. On one side, we find the inscription 金瓯永固, which again translates to Golden Chalice of Eternal Stability. And on the other side, the inscription says 乾隆年制, which means made during Qianlong's reign, roughly. It has 8 golden flowers on one side and 10 on the other side, and it's decorated with gemstones and pearls. The 3 legs of the chalice are elephant trunks, and the 2 handles are shaped like dragons. And this chalice is currently found in the Wallace collection in London, England. The second iteration here can also be found in the Wallace collection in London. It's slightly shorter and wider than the first iteration. And it looks brighter, which can be attributed to the fact that the alloy contains more gold. It has 13 flowers on each side, and once again it's decorated with gemstones and pearls. One notable design improvement from the first iteration is that we can now see like 2 golden pearl holders, one on top of each dragon's head, which implies that there used to be a pearl on top of each dragon's head, but obviously now they went missing in action at some point. This is the 3rd chalice. I think that as opposed to a 3rd iteration, this was actually another copy of the 2nd iteration. And as far as I know, I think this was the one that was actually used in the tradition every year. Until the 4th one was made, which I'll talk about later. So here we can see actually that the pearl on each dragon's head has survived until today. And otherwise the decorations are very similar to the 2nd chalice that I showed. This chalice is currently found in the Palace Museum in Taipei. The 4th chalice can be found today in the Palace Museum in Beijing. Again, it's almost identical to the 3rd one. This one was commissioned much later in the 62nd year of Qianlong's reign. And it was commissioned because the old one, the previous one, was found to be slightly damaged, but Qianlong wanted this chalice to be perfect. And ever since it was commissioned, this was the one that was then used every year in the tradition. So all the images of the chalice that I showed today, I took from the websites of the respective museums that they are found in, and I can't stop staring at them. They're so beautiful, and it's really humbling to look at them. But why are these chalices dispersed in Beijing, Taipei, and London? I think Beijing and Taipei are pretty intuitive, so specifically why London? The short answer is the Opium War. The Opium War in the 1800s was, I think, arguably one of the most important and humiliating events of modern Chinese history, and I think understanding the Opium War is important and essential in understanding many aspects of today's China. I won't attempt to explain it today in this video, but the detail that's relevant is that during the Opium War, much of Yuan Ming Yuan, which is the summer palace, was destroyed and a lot of looting occurred. In 1862, Charles Louis Dupin, who is a French colonel who actively participated in looting, sold his loots at a Paris auction. In this auction, Richard Seymour Conway spent 9,050 francs to buy the two chalices, which now eventually ended up in London in the Wallace collections. I'm glad that these beautiful works of art and messengers of Chinese history are now spread across the world, in the sense that this allows more people to see them and learn about the stories behind them. But that being said, I think these artifacts embody so much more than the stories of, the prosperous peak of the Qing dynasty when they were built. They really also embody the story of everything that came after, and all the crossroads in Chinese history that led to where they are, Chinese and world history that led to where they are today. And I think it's important to tell those stories as well. I hope that you enjoyed learning about this artifact and the accompanying snippets of Chinese history. Hit subscribe if you like this kind of video. I'm hoping to make many more of them. And please comment with any suggestions, or if I got any facts wrong, or if you want to hear more about something that I mentioned in the video. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.